correct me if you've heard this before. I'll do it tomorrow. I've got to the end of the month, the end of the year. These are all self-justified excuses. If these things sound familiar, don't worry. I've had a lot of these thoughts over the years. I used to be afraid to talk about my ambitions. I used to think I had to stand a certain way, talk a certain way. And I'm here to tell you that those things are absolute rubbish. And if you're on your way to 30, it's hard not to feel the pressure a little bit. You see people getting married, people having kids, people buying houses. So you might be feeling like you're ahead of people, but also more often than not that you're behind. Regardless of this, I'm here to tell you some things. You are your choices. When you get to the end of any decade, it's quite scary because you tend to look back at the person that you were initially and you're thinking, am I still the same person? Do I still like the same things? Do I still sound the same? Do I look the same? And more often than not, there's quite a few subtle changes that come with growing up, but you're not the same person. You've adapted. The thing is, as a person, you're a combination of all the decisions you've made, the small and big choices. So quick story time, a decision I made from when I was approaching 30 was to really cut down on my drinking. And it was a small decision, but it came with some massive benefits. And I think a main reason for that is because I identified this problem that I was having, which is I'd be going out, I'd be buying everyone drinks, shots and whatnot, getting home at a stupid time, not working on my YouTube channel, not going to the gym, and I'd feel terrible. And it would be this cycle which would happen and it would make me less productive, less efficient. The thing is, identifying the short-term decisions that have a knock-on effect is really scary because you're going to be cutting the fun out of a lot of short-term activities. But if you're fast approaching your third decade, you've got to make some choices. You need to make some decisions that are going to ramp you up for the next one. You actually start to value peace over the chaos that can happen when you're just looking to have fun all the time. And this is why, to me, novelty isn't always better. So for a period of time, I was actually trying to learn salsa and I found it very frustrating because it was only something that I was able to commit to maybe like 1 hour a week or, a couple hours. And most of the time it was me trying to memorize what I'd already learned and practice it badly. What I came to realize is that it wasn't improving my life. It wasn't making that massive change that I was looking for. That's where I realized that just because something's new, you don't have to embrace it as this full-fledged thing that's going to become a big part of your life. It's good to experiment, but realizing that you don't always need to be going after the next thing. You don't always need to be investing yourself into activities which don't actually align with your true goals and your true purpose. Just by having something new in your life doesn't instantly make it better. I don't know if you've ever bought a pair of trainers and then you're really excited about them, you wear them every single day, get a new bunch of outfits to go with them, and then before long you actually go back to how you were feeling before you got the trainers. Does this sound familiar? This sensation is called the hedonic treadmill, and this is that we have a base level state that exists before we get certain things, before we experience certain things. And it's only natural that we go back to this state when the novelty wears off. It's a bit like in dating where you've got the honeymoon phase. This is where you've got the 3-month mark where you actually go back to your base level state. And if you've got lots of doubts and insecurities about yourself, this is where they can affect the relationship. So if you are in your late 20s, my biggest piece of advice to you is that you don't have to chase after everything. You can take things at your own pace. Anything that's short term, it's just a momentary fix. It's literally like a plaster on a gaping wound. If something feels good to do, do it, but don't feel like you have to overcommit yourself. You have to come to realize that it might be something that is just holding you back. And moving on from this, sometimes experience is the way forward. I think being in your 20s is quite frustrating because you can kind of see the people around you that are getting ahead leaps and bounds, but when you think back to when you were in school together, you're all on the same level playing field. And this actually discourages us from making mistakes or going down a different path because we're worried that these things will end up holding us back. So there's this book called Portfolio Life which talks about this concept called zigzagging. And zigzagging is something where you might temporarily invest your time into a career or an interest, but then quickly take yourself out of it and go in a different direction, and then you can take all of the different things that you've learned from that experience with you. This is quite important in my life because it's allowed me not to be boxed in. It's allowed me to be multidisciplined and also appear to be competent in quite a few areas. This allows you to see what skills you have that can be transferred to other areas and also be used together. I started my professional career doing a bit of freelance journalism, doing placements, reporting, a bit of content writing, but then I realized that it wasn't something that I wanted to do. That's what led me into doing sales and actually got me into property. And along the way, I got invested in some new hobbies like boxing. I think these experiences have shaped me into the person that I am today. And these small penny drops and breakthroughs wouldn't have happened had I just stuck to one direction. Like all these new investments of time have helped me realize what I'd rather be doing, who I'd like to be spending my time with, and the type of person that I'd like to be going into my 30th decade. Like if you don't have all the answers yet, that's absolutely fine. We are the choices that we make, but at the same time, you're not wasting yourself on short-term pleasures, short-term things, which in reality aren't going to add much in terms of experience, in terms of skills. You shouldn't worry about the old ambitions that you used to have, but what matters now is what you feel, what you like doing, and where you want to put your time. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. We've got much more content on the way, so like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Bye-bye.